Hey, it's BT with Tales from the Gemini. And again, that's Beeline Fox from El Paso. Thank you, Malik. I appreciate that. Week before, in between week, between after Christmas and before New Year's, a week that I think nothing gets done, basically. I mean, there's the construction dudes, but I don't know what they're doing. They're probably dropping stuff on people's cars like they did Wyatt. I mean, we never talked about that, but Wyatt had his car in the alley, right? In the alley. Remember that? And they dropped that brick through your window, and they said they didn't do it. Like, where the fuck did it come from then? Did Jesus drop a brick on you? And they say, we didn't do it. Then how did the brick get there? We don't know. And they never claimed it. Remember that? But they pass by the window every day and just wave at us. That's wrong, isn't it? It really is. Anyway, hey, today's guest is the guy I respect probably more than maybe one of the more than anybody maybe in this game, comedy game at least, and just in life. The one guy that really intimidates me, I mean, just intellectually in every way possible. We both get into GP. We're both kind of in the same, if you go down the line, we both click every box. We're both motorsports aficionados. We're both African-American, both bald, both Geminis. And he is so much a better comic than I am. And people respect him, and they run from me, and not in a good way. So I love the guy. It's Alonzo Bodden, and you've seen him. He did a show on a speed channel. He did 101 Cars You Must Drive, America's Worst Drivers. Alonzo's just the man. He's friends with Jay Leno. You just love the guy. You can't help but love the guy. He's got a great podcast called Who's Paying Attention. He won season 3 of Last Comic Standing. Just everything down the line, man. This guy is just incredible. So I was just nervous to have him come on the show. But we bonded together through motorcycles and MotoGP. And I'm going to start off when he gets on. I got to owe him an apology that I've never said to him. I told everybody else this story, but I never told him this. And he's just a great guy. To the point of, I go, man, I wish I was like Alonzo. Anyway, I'm going to save this story for him when he comes on. He's going to click on him in about a minute. I know he'll be on time. That's Alonzo. And it's like 8:59 his time. It's 9 o'clock his time. And I mean, that means a lot because it's almost noon here. It's noon here. So it's nothing for me, but for him, he had to wake up early to do this. So anyway, he's going to click on any minute, and I can't wait. I know he's going to be on time, and we're going to get it going with Alonzo. He's a Gemini. He's from New York. He lives in L.A. now. Been living in L.A. all of his adult life, pretty much. And I got nothing but great things to say, and I'm going to wait till he comes on so we can talk. And I can't believe my producer, Wyatt, didn't know who he is, what do you guys do? When you guys grew up, like, did you guys ever Google? I mean, you guys got Google. I mean, seriously, there's no reason. Wyatt's white. He don't even know who Pearl Jam is.
No, I do not know who Pearl Jam is.
How do you not know who Pearl? I mean, seriously, I grew up knowing like people like music. Like I knew who Lawrence Welk was. I don't even listen to that music.
No idea who that is.
I know you would. If you don't know who Pearl Jam is, you should know who Lawrence Welk is. But that was before. I didn't even have Google. I had to do shit on my own, and I knew who these people were. Like Nat King Cole.
Why would I Google Pearl Jam?
You know what? I'm done. I'm done talking to you. I'm done. You have no idea, and it just pisses me off that you don't know. You don't know your history, bro. You don't know your history. You don't even. Anyway, so Alonzo's going to click on any minute because you're just pissing me off with not knowing who Pearl Jam is. You don't know Yvonne Flo. You ever heard that song?
Nope.
Jeremy smoking class today?
Nope.
That's where all white kids get all like, oh, I'm going to kill everybody. And they start shit. And that's what that song was written about, basically. You know, white kids freak out like, oh my God, it's a bad day at middle school. And they just fucking machine gun everybody in the classroom. Yeah, and you don't know that song?
No.
That should be your anthem. I'm sorry, man. No, but I'm just saying.
All right, no.
But no, seriously, Jeremy, that was like a famous song. You don't know.
All right, Alonzo's here.
Okay, here we go. Alonzo Bodden's here. All right, here we go. I can't wait. Here we go. Oh, my goodness. I hope I don't mess this up. It's got to be going. Zoe! Alonzo! Alonzo? Is he asleep? Alonzo? Alonzo? Oh, God. Alonzo! Can you see me?
What up, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you see me? Can you see me? Alonzo, can you see me? Can you hear me? Is it you or me? Uh-oh. Is it you or me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, can you
using the wrong speaker.
Oh, can you see me though? Can you see me?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see me?
I see you, brother. I know you were sitting. I thought you were asleep. I go, oh my God, because I know it's early there. So I apologize for waking you up and everything. So thank you.
No worries. I was looking down, getting the settings right.
Oh man,
What are you in a studio?
Yeah, man, I'm big time now, brother. I'm big time. I got a studio. I got a white dude working for me. Well, actually, he owns the building. But yeah, I got a young, like 19-year-old white dude who's a producer. I have to listen to him. And I got a young 21-year-old. He's white and doesn't know who Pearl Jam is. You believe that shit? I'm like, I mean, it's almost offensive to me. Like, I knew who people, like, growing up, people in music that I didn't even get into, but I knew who Nat King Cole was, and I didn't even have Google. He has Google and doesn't know who Pearl Jam is. I mean, it pisses me off. Kids today.
Kids these days, I tell you.
First of all, man, I've told everybody's story except for you, and I'm going to set it up like this, is that coming up in L.A., you know, the way we did, I had a great manager. Her name will be, I'm not mentioning it. Great manager, had great everything. So, and the way she always said things like, hey, did I get this? And she goes, nah, this Alonzo guy got it. I go, damn it, how about that? I get this. They gave it to the Alonzo guy. This Alonzo guy. They seem to like him. And the way she said it kind of pitted us against each other. The way she said it to me, she kind of pitted us against each other. So I grew up, so I had this animosity towards you before I even met you. She goes, yeah, Alonzo guy. And I was like, who is this Alonzo guy? And you know, I'd see you on TV. I go, God, who's this? And then, so I had this all built up to where it was a rivalry. Just on my side, I go, I'm sick of this shit. And I swear to God, man, I think it was in Miyagi's on Sunset, right across the street from Dublin's. We met. And you say, hey, BT, and you came across and you shook my hand, and man, I felt so bad that I had built up this rivalry, this not hatred, but just animosity towards you. And you could have been more gracious. And after that, I promised myself I would never, ever, ever feel that way again without meeting somebody first. You know what I mean? So that was my way of apologizing to you, saying that. And after that, man, we bonded after that, and we've been tight ever since. And I tell people, you're like the big brother I wish I had. You know, we're both Geminis. You know, we're both bald. We check every box. We like motorsports. Not too many brothers like motorsports, or at least admit it. You know, we into motorcycles. And when we go places, you're the only. When we go to MotoGP, everybody goes, Alonzo, and I'm like, hey, I'm somebody too. I do comedy too. And they just don't even look at me, and they just kind of, you know, give me the Heisman and talk to you. So I always want to apologize to you first and say, yeah, you're the big brother I wish I had, man.
Well, BT, first of all, you must have been going for some little jobs, because if I was getting them, they weren't big. I have the same experience, not the animosity, but the same experience with Craig Robinson. Mm-hmm. You know, we used to go on the same auditions, and then he started getting them. That's what happened, you know, the TV and stuff like that. And now I just got a voiceover audition, and they asked for a Craig Robinson type. I sent it to him. I said, I'm pretty sure you could get this Pizza Hut commercial because you're the voice they're looking for. And then I also have, did I ever tell you my Terry Crews story?
I'm not sure. I think, but tell me anyway.
So I was up, there was a movie, it was called The Sixth Sense with Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
And it was about cloning. Like, they were trying to kill him, and they had these 3 killers that were chasing him, and they would accidentally kill each other, and then they'd clone them, and they'd go after him again. So I was up for it, and for one of the killers, and at the time I was with William Morris. This was back when early in my deal, when I signed with them. Schwarzenegger was with William Morris, and the director's William Morris. So I'm thinking I got in, right? I had 4 callbacks, and I didn't get it. And you know who got it? Terry Crews got it, because Terry Crews was bigger than me. And, you know, I met him umpteen years later, and I told him the story. I said, man, you ruined my movie career. And he showed me this video on YouTube. You know, he played pro ball. I think he played for the Bengals.
No, he played for the Chargers.
Okay, well, anyway, he showed a kick when he was on special teams on a kickoff, and he got knocked the hell out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Went.
Yeah.
And he said, whenever you tired of me, just go to YouTube and watch me get knocked the hell out. And so the point being, man, there's always somebody who gets a job.
Well,
And you know what's going to happen next time we go to MotoGP? You know, we're both going to lose because Bill Burr is a MotoGP fan now.
You know what? I know that, and now they look at him. I mean, and I'm look like a hack. They're gonna think I'm a hack and hacking on. But I was there before him, and you were there before me when it comes to MotoGP, because you turned me onto it. Well, no, I was onto it, but you were deeper into it than I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no one's deeper in it than you, and Burr knows that. I told him and he was like, "Yeah, I know BT." Yeah, and I said, "Oh, that's the fan. That's the psycho." So, yeah, he might be there if we have a race this year.
Yeah,
he's supposed to come down, and you know Rogan's there too. So, we're gonna be on the sidelines.
Well, I don't know Rogan that well, and I don't want to. And I know me. Like, I'm gonna jump to this real quick. It's like you're the only person I listen to and don't get mad at, because you pull me to the side like a coach, and you go, "Listen, BT, they like you, but you've got to settle down." I mean, because I'm a grown-ass man, and I'm like geeking over these kids. And the greatest thing you said was when we were at the MotoGP in Indianapolis, I was like, "Hey, man, I follow Bradley Smith." And I was telling you this, and you go, "You follow a 15-year-old boy, BT?" And I go, and you made me feel so small. And I go, "Yeah, I guess it didn't sound good, does it?" And I was geeking out so bad over these guys. I remember being on the grid, and Randy DePugnier was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And you know, and then you pulled. I think Tony said something to you, and you pulled me to the side. "Listen, people like you, but you've got to settle down." And I go, "Yeah, you're right." And ever since then, that was the talk I needed, and the talk I needed to hear. And ever since then, I've known how to pull away. Like, I feel so bad for Chad Reed. I love Chad Reed. I would love to have him on the show. And every time I see him at MotoGP, he's nice. He's always been nice, but I see it in his eyes like, "Oh God, not this guy again." Because I know how annoying I am. But the thing about it, in my defense, it is a genuine geek. It's a genuine, like, "Oh my God," and I can't control that excitement. I wish I could, but that's a part of me I can't control. That's why sometimes if you're on the grid, you'll see me like behind the wall. It's because I know what's coming and I feel it coming up. Like when you drink too much whatever, and you feel that throw up coming. I know to go, okay, and I don't go on the grid, and I stay back, and I go, and I breathe in, and I just wait for the start of the race, because I know if I go out there, I'm going to annoy somebody. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. So I want to.
Oh, you mean like when you drink too many Red Bulls? Do your fans know this? Are they aware of how you live on energy drinks?
Well, you know what? But I've eliminated that, though. I've stopped that. Only time I drink energy drinks maybe is that now I can't stay up like I used to watch MotoGP. So what I do is, not the way I used to. It used to be a natural stay up. So now I have to cheat and do energy drink. That's the only time I do energy drinks is when MotoGP starts. People in Europe have no idea what we go through, but at least for me. And being on the East Coast time, so that means that FP1 for Moto 3 for me starts at 4 o'clock in the morning. So now I'll have to take a nap. I go to bed maybe at midnight and take a nap till like 3. And then I start drinking a energy drink. And so I'll get that little jitter. And so when FP1 starts in Moto 3, I'm like, I'm ready. And then when MotoGP starts, I'm like, okay, I'm good. And I watch that until Moto 2, and I take a little nap, and then I wake up and watch Moto 3 again at about 5:30 in the morning. So it's hell living in this body, Alonzo. It's fucking hell.
Well,
bro.
It's good you're not still on the West Coast, because then it would start at 1 a.m. I think we get it. What time is it on? It's on from like 2 to 5 a.m.
Oh, it's perfect. You know, I wish I would have still stayed out there when MotoGP was going on, because that would have been perfect for me. Because I moved, just when I was getting into it, I moved here. And the one thing we missed, I don't know about you, but we missed was the Speed Channel. The Speed Channel was the biggest miss, I think, in at least for motorsports fans, because it had everything. It had Two Wheel Tuesdays. That's where you're introduced to MotoGP. You were introduced to Jason Britton. You with your, what's that show you did? 101 Cars You Must Drive. I mean, and honestly, people still mention that to you when we walk around MotoGP. People go, "Hey, I remember you from 101 Cars from Speed Channel." And Speed Channel's been gone a minute, so I miss Speed Channel, man. And I think motorsports hadn't really recovered in the United States since then.
Well, so you know what happened to Speed Channel, right? It became Fox Sports, and Fox bought it, and then they tried to make it a baseball channel. and that didn't work. So it became Fox Sports, I guess 2 or something like that, and it was all NASCAR. That was the problem with Speed. Speed just went all NASCAR all the time. And yeah, I mean, I miss Speed Channel too. I had a job. Hell yeah, I miss Speed Channel.
But you know what? You know, like about you, and almost me to a certain extent, is that you don't throw it in your face, but you have a little bit of air of like NASCAR's beneath me. I'm an F1 person, and I don't dig this kind of motorcycle racing. I did MotoGP because that's the upper echelon of motorcycle race. So it's like MotoGP and F1, and I watch your act, and even in private conversation, you disdain, like, I don't say disdain, that's kind of a mean word, but kind of like a NASCAR, like, it's beneath me, because you're like an F1
Well,
dude.
you know, listen, man, it's the history. It's the history of NASCAR. It's, you know, God bless you for being a NASCAR fan, but you know, I'm like Charles Barkley, man. They lost me with the Confederate flags. I mean, if you know, they embrace that part of the culture. Unfortunately, they embrace that, and I'm not going to support it. It's going to be weird this year, right, with Jordan having a team.
Yes, and Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace.
And Bubba Wallace, but overall, that is an atmosphere in which we are not welcome. And I'm fine with that. I don't need to be a trendsetter. I don't need to be a part of it. That's one thing. The other thing is F1. And now I like Superbike. I don't, you know, I'm not like you. I don't watch it as much as you, and I don't know it as much as you. But the thing about F1 and MotoGP is it is the pinnacle. They are the best. They're the best riders. They're the best drivers, and they're in the most technologically advanced equipment. I mean, an F1 car is an aircraft that is somehow anchored to the ground. And you know, in MotoGP, famously, you know, when Rossi was recovering from his broken leg, right? And he rode an R1 testing his leg, and they said, oh yeah, he would have qualified for Superbike, you know.
Yeah, I remember that, man. Of course I remember that. But yes, I remember that like it was yesterday, because Lorenzo was getting in his ass, and he went home. He went to Mugello, and he's like, and he felt those footsteps. You know what I mean? As you say in football, he felt those footsteps. So he had to get on it because Lorenzo was on that ass, and so he came and that tire got a little cold on that little switchback and flipped him off, and he, you know, broke that leg. And yeah, but Rossi's just an incredible talent. When he was a second behind when he flirted with F1. Remember he flirted with F1, and he was only a second behind when he tried out on an F1 car. I'm like, his talent is unbelievable.
Well, racers' talents transfer, right? Because of the reflexes, the calm at speed, the vision. I remember them saying Kenny Roberts, like, he had incredibly good vision. And what it does is, and you've been on a track, so you know, you look so far ahead of you that everything slows down, right? And
I'm not that good. I'm not that good.
No, well, these guys, you know, it's like any sport, man. You know, the pinnacle, the guys at the top, or women at the top, whatever, whatever the sport is, besides having unnatural talent, they have an incredible work ethic. They're incredibly focused. They're in that'd be your hardest thing for you. You can't focus you for 3 minutes. They stay focused. You know, I mean, these are the things. Like, even with me, like, I used to do track days.
Yes.
And, you know, my buddy Joe, you know Joe.
Yeah, I know Joe.
Joe has become a master at the track. I mean, Joe is incredible. But one of the things that one of the problems I had is I get bored. And you can't get bored on the track. You have to maintain that level of focus. And to me, it's like, okay, you know.
to me, it's not so much boredom. It's just I can't concentrate that long. I remember I took the Yamaha racing school, and to me that was the best. So I did the Ron Haslam one in England at the Donington Park, which was great. But I think the Yamaha one was better. It taught me more. I think technical wise. And I remember, we went out and had our little sessions, and I just remember for some reason I lost concentration and I went off track. And I kind of like motocrossed it and went across track. And so what I did was I just pulled it in, gathered myself, and then went back out. And I told the dude what I did, and he goes, "Good job." But I lost focus. And it's weird to say you lose focus because you're on a track and you should be so focused. And you're going at those speeds. You have people behind you, so you really got to be focused. But yeah, at some point you're going, okay, whoa, and you lose it, and you're going to a turn. You got to be on it. And so the fact that I lost, that's why I wish I had Adderall. I need Adderall or whatever, just so I can focus on racing. That's why I understand now. If I was a racer, I would take those drugs. You know what I mean? I honestly would, just so you can be more focused. I need that.
But that's what they do, though. I know exactly what you mean, but that's one of the talents, right? When people say that racers are not athletes.
Those are people who are talking reckless, as I like to say.
Right, but that's one of the talents that they don't realize, the level of concentration.
Yes.
And how long you have to stay at that level to compete. I mean, it is a high level of concentration. Now, for a lot of racers, they find it relaxing. And the reason they do, it's like when we're doing stand-up, right? When I'm on stage, I'm not thinking about anything else. There's nothing else there. I'm not thinking about, I don't know, work the next day or, the car ain't running or whatever. None of that matters when I'm on stage. When I'm on stage, I'm 100% there in the moment.
Yes.
For racers, and I've talked to them, some of them, when they're doing it, they're 100% there. They're not thinking about anything else. I got to interview, and you interview these guys, so but I did an interview with Spees once for Bob and Tom, and they were fascinated. They were like, "Man, how do you ride a motorcycle at 180 miles an hour?" And he was like, "Well, I've been doing it every day for years." Like, that's his job. You know what I mean? So
right.
To him, it wasn't it sounds insane, right? But to someone who does it all the time, it's not insane. So just like people don't understand how we get on stage, but to us getting on stage is natural. Racers get on the track, and to them it's a focused concentration, but it's a concentration they enjoy because they drop out everything else, and I think that applies to any passion, right? If you're lucky enough to find your passion, while you're doing it, it's your escape from the rest of the world. You bicycle. Bicyclists are like that. I've tried bicycling numerous times. I got some really nice bikes because I did some shows for some really big biking. I get bored so fast on a bicycle because I'm used to being on a motorcycle. And I'm like, this is slow as shit. Why am I doing this?
Well, here's what gets me through. And this goes back, this is how we're similar in the Gemini sense. This is honestly how I get through life. This is how I get through life. I have to mentally mind fuck myself to get through life because sometimes, it's not working out in some aspects. So you got to find a way to trick your way through this life. And for what I do is, and this is honestly how I do it, I think of myself as a MotoGP racer. So when I wake up, it's like I know I have to get more cardio in. So when I go work out the gym, I'm not as bulky as I used to be because I think of myself as a racer. So the reason I cycle is I think of myself as a racer. I'm a motorcycle racer. So that's why I cycle, because I'm thinking, I go, I'm a racer. So and when I'm riding my bicycle, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to help my cardio when I ride. And it sounds like nothing, but that's what gets me through. And cycling is the same way. It's like, there's nothing I love better, honestly, is I'm getting that passion for cycling. Is that, man, you're in the country, and you got your earbuds in. And the scary part of being here is that there's no shoulder. I mean, you guys in LA have it so damn good. You can ride damn near 365 days a year. I know because I live there. You guys have bicycle lanes. People respect you guys. We have nothing here. And so I'm in the country.
No, they actually don't. And I've ridden a bicycle some. You're okay on a bicycle path, but when you're in the streets, people don't respect that bicycle lane unless you're in a large group. I got to do, one of those rides, where there's 100 bicycles riding together.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of fun. We would meet Monday nights in North Hollywood and ride to Hollywood and around to Griffith Park and stuff. It was fun. But that was the only time people respected you. And people would get mad at that group because we took over the whole street.
Yeah.
But bicycles get hit and cyclists get hit by cars all the time.
Yeah.
Because cars have no respect for them. And again, the thing about being on a motorcycle, which they have no respect for motorcycles.
No.
But on a motorcycle, you got enough power to get out the way.
Well, yeah.
On a bicycle, and cyclists will tell you it is a big problem. Now, I don't know if you've been to Portland.
Yeah.
Portland has these bicycle highways. They're like green paths.
Yeah.
Man, you step into that, you are going to get killed by a bicycle. You better respect bikes. And Amsterdam. Have you been to Amsterdam?
Oh, I have, man. I was in Aston.
Yeah, that's right. So when you step off the curb in Amsterdam,
Yeah.
you're not looking for a car. You're looking for bicycles because they'll run you over. That first lane is a bicycle lane. It's crazy. So
Now, I ever tell you my Amsterdam story? This is dumbass here. This is how I used to travel. I literally looked on the map and I saw the track. I said Aston. And I saw the airport. I go, okay, it can't be that far. And so I landed in Amsterdam at Interpol. Interpol? I landed. That's the FBI. Anyway, I landed in Amsterdam, and I got a hotel like 8 miles from the airport, and Aston was 2 hours away. So I literally had to wake up at like 4 a.m. to get on the road, to get into the track to watch FP1 for Moto3. I literally had to get up every day at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to go. And on race day, I got up at 4 o'clock, I think 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to go there, and I was still in the line. That's how much they love racing. But yeah, dumbass here didn't think ahead. And so my hotel was in Amsterdam, and Aston was 2.5 hours away. I knew I was in trouble because the passport guy goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Aston." And he looked at me like, "What?" He looked at the other guy, and I said, "Uh-oh." And they go, "MotoGP." Go, "Oh," and I go, "Oh shit!" And I knew then I had fucked up, and so yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you need to learn Google Maps.
But
Before you go.
that was before Google Maps. That was before. But here's what makes me concentrate though. I went old school. I asked the guy at Avis. I go, "How do you get here?" And I would close my eyes, and he told me, and that's how I get places. I didn't have a Google at the time. My phone went international, so I go, "Tell me," and I close my eyes. He go, "Okay, you leave here, make a right." It's a bump, 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 and that's how I would get places. I went old school, closed my eyes, and I had to focus. Granted, I got lost for 2.5 hours, but still, I finally got there though, and that's how. I did.
Yeah, kids don't even know what a Thomas guide is.
Kids today, they don't know the riding with your mapping. I don't know if you did the road like I did, but you ride with the map in your lap and you turn that light on while you're driving like, oh shit, I'm gonna be late for this one-nighter. And you're trying to find out, is that the turn? Damn it. And you got to take a different exit to come back around. They don't know that, Dale. They don't know those days, man.
Nope.
You know what? Honestly, I want to go back with you because, like I said, the similarities we have are so, like, you grew up, and I said that growing up, but your grandma had a farm in South Carolina, and that's what introduced you to motorcycles. And I was like, yes. I mean, the best thing about the South of growing up that way is you got to start off on a dirt bike, man, and just riding in a field, and that's what waters that passion,
I mean, you have the place right, but the riding experience was completely different. So looking back and knowing what I know now, the guy had to be either a Triumph or a BSA.
Yeah.
Because it was a British twin.
Yeah.
I remember the 2 cylinders. I remember that. They rented land from my grandmother, and there was a dirt road, a couple of miles from the highway to the house.
Right.
And he would take us for rides on the back of his bike. And I tell everyone, it still feels the same way when I ride. That feeling like you're flying, like you're free, like whatever it was, it clicked then, and I've never lost that love of it. I've never lost that love of the feeling of being on a bike. But no, I never had a bike when I was a kid. I wanted one. My dad would never let me get a mini bike. In New York, kids had mini bikes, and they would ride them in parking lots or illegally on the street.
yeah.
The way kids do now. I mean, we weren't like these kids today.
Like the dirt bike boys.
You know, wheeling dirt bikes and
the 12 o'clock boys.
That. But
See, that's the great part about growing up. Like, and I call Oklahoma the South, but if you've been there, you know it's kind of the South.
It's a country. You had room.
Again, that's the thing about it. I had a field, literally a kitty corner to our house, which was the church parking lot. That's where I developed a trail there that I think is there to this day. That I did a trail when I grew up. I had a trail there, and then 2 blocks down, there's this the big football field, and I rode there. Man, I had the best of both worlds. And this is how the times were different back then. I had a mini bike. My best friend in school, he had a mini bike. Now, he lived across town. Like, West Side was pretty much predominantly all black. East Side was pretty much all white. So I got bused to the East Side. And so he said, hey, man, I want to come ride with you. I said, okay. Now, this is how small town our is. And no one thought anything of this. He's got to be 8, 9 years old. He rode across town, across a busy highway to come ride with me. And then it was like I think it turned like 4:30. It's getting dark. Okay, I got to go. I said, okay. And nobody thought, and he's 8 years old, and he's riding a mini bike across town to ride with me in a field. And I said, okay, gotta go. And he rides back. I'm sure he rode on the streets, and nobody thought anything different. Like, my parents knew he was there, knew he was a kid that was my age, 8, 9 years old, 3rd grade, riding across town on a mini bike, and no one said shit. Those are the greatest days in the world. And that's what you city boys don't understand, how great it is growing up in a situation like that. You take the negativity out of it, everything. And there wasn't that much negativity when you're young. You don't see it. But that's what and that's where the passion is. That's why I don't understand how people can be introduced to riding at a young age and how it doesn't leave you. Like, I can't understand how people don't keep that passion, me personally. You know what I mean? I mean, you kept it, and I kept it, but I can't.
Yeah, but people's I don't know, tastes or whatever change, and they get attracted to different things. And yeah, I see. It's like anything, man. You start out loving it, but then you lose the passion, right? It happens with sports. People love a sport, and then they just stop playing it for whatever reason. But I never lost it.
Me neither, man. I think
I bought the Grom. Because it was a mini bike I never had.
that was going back to your childhood. That was your childhood way of going, look,
right.
I got this, Dad. I think that's beautiful, man. And to see you on a Grom, because you're what, 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to see you on a Grom has got to be the funniest thing in the world. To see you.
Oh, I have pictures of big guys on Groms. You go to Grom websites, you always see guys too big for Groms. I had one picture where there were 2 of them. A guy had a passenger. I don't even know how they both fit on the seat. I mean, he must have been on the gas tank and his partner on the fender. But they're fun. There's nothing like riding a slow bike fast. That's more fun. That's why everyone's buying those little 300s now, right? So they're riding them at full throttle all the time.
Well, I told you what my thing is. I want to get a Vespa. And part of me wants to get a Vespa because I used to be kind of a fuck up. And I didn't get my life right until like about 6, 7 years ago. So I want a Vespa like at a 50, just in case my license gets suspended. I can still ride on the street and not get pulled over by the cops. So anything under 50 cc's and under, you don't have to have a license or whatever. And so, no grown man wants to ride anything, 50 cc's or lower. No grown man in his right mind does. But that's my whole thing. And I want to get a Vespa, and I want to get the bags on it, like a big hard top, and I want to get a little cup holder so I can have open face helmet and drink my latte at stoplights. I want to go to Starbucks and drink my latte, and that's the only reason I want a Vespa. That's the only reason, and I want to get a Vespa this year. That's what I want to get.
Well, I know a guy. He's a supercar guy.
Yeah,
lives in West LA. Everything, McLarens, Ferraris, you name it. He's in that business. And he rides a Vespa 300 all over the town, all over the city. He said he loves it. He says, yeah, it's the best way to get around. Because he uses the 300 because you can go on the freeway with it. But the way he was talking, he had me thinking about buying one. I said, man, I ain't wasting no money on a Vespa.
Now, I'm trying to think, was it you or was it me who talked the other into riding cross country on a bike? I can't remember, because I know we talked about it and we both done it, and you've done from LA to New York. I've only done, since I'm based in Midwest, I've only gone from here to, I've gone from Indianapolis to Tucson, Indianapolis to Sacramento. So, and y'all know you've gone.
Yeah, but you went to Tucson nonstop, didn't you?
No, that was the greatest trip ever because I went from Indy to Tulsa. Stayed with my mom in Tulsa. Next day I could tell my dad. Okay, then the day later I went to Dallas. Stayed with my old high school wrestling buddy there. From Dallas I went to El Paso. Stayed the night in El Paso. From El Paso, then it went to Tucson. And so I took my time with that trip. That's why it was great. But on the way back, typical BT dumbass, I didn't know we had a Sunday show, and I had to be back in Indy by I think Wednesday. I had to be back in Indy by Wednesday. And so I had to drive. I was an unofficial member of the Iron Butt Club. And if people don't know, that's where you ride 24 hours on a bike. The 24 hours, I think 1,000 miles under 24 hours. And that's what I did. I left Tucson at about 10 o'clock and got to Tulsa at 8 o'clock that night. And I mean, I rode nonstop. And that was, I didn't mean to do that. And that was when it wasn't so much fun because I had to be there. You know what I mean? And I tell people.
How many miles is that?
Man, I think it's, I want to say 800. I want to say 8.
No, it's more than that.
Okay, well, I guess it wasn't. I don't know. I just know I rode.
I went from Tucson to
Tulsa.
Indy.
Tucson, Indy, but I had to go. But I went from Tucson to Tulsa in less than 24 hours.
Oh, so you went Tucson to Tulsa?
Tucson to Tulsa, yeah. Tucson to Tulsa.
Right. I'm looking at my map now. I'm going to see how far that is.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I remember that trip. I remember that because I just remember riding through New Mexico. And it was coming up on dawn. And I was like, and I could barely see, but I thought, man, this town is a piece of shit. And I just remember I got some gas and I go, hey, man, what's the name of this town? And this guy goes, shithole. And I go, I'm glad you said that. And I was thinking the same thing. How long is that?
Tucson to Tulsa is 1,000 miles. You did an iron butt. It says it's 1,000. The shortest route is 1,034 miles.
Yeah, so I'm an unofficial member of the Iron Butt Club.
You should have made it official.
Yeah, well, dummy, I was on a mission.
The longest day I've done was, I just did it in September. It was a little over 800 miles, Albuquerque to L.A.
Whoa, really? You did the whole stretch, huh? You didn't want to break it up or nothing?
Well, what happened, I had planned to, so I made it to, I was on I-40, right? So when I got to Flagstaff, I was like, I'm just going to hit New Mexico. So when you first hit New Mexico, you hit, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's a garbage town. It was
Las Cruces. Is it Las Cruces?
No, it's not Las Cruces.
Oh, it's northern Mexico, right? Northern New Mexico?
Yeah, northern New Mexico.
Oh, New Mexico, period.
Starts with a G. I can't, but anyway.
Gallup.
Gallup. That's what it was. Yeah. So I was like, I ain't staying here. And I had a friend in Albuquerque, which was, the next, so I just rode through. And then the same thing coming back. As a matter of fact, I was going to Tulsa. My friend Jackie in Tulsa, her son is 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I had a BMW rally gig in North Carolina. So my plan had been to ride across country, right? Because the pandemic's happening, nothing's open. I had time. I had enough time.
Right.
So I was going to ride to North Carolina, and I said, I'm going to come to Tulsa and take your kid for a ride. He's the age. He needs to go on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And
start that
so
passion.
the gig got canceled, and I was like, what the hell? I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm going to go to Tulsa, just take this kid for a motorcycle ride. And that's what I did.
Nice.
And it was fun. And she's funny because she said, yeah, you got him. He's wearing his helmet every day. And runs around the house playing motorcycle and stuff. So it was fun. But so coming back, I rode Tulsa to Albuquerque, which is like, I think 600 miles. And then I was going to stop in like Kingman or Needles.
Yeah.
It's nothing there. And I was like, it was early. It was like 6 o'clock in the afternoon because I had started at like 7 or 8 in the morning. And I was like, I might as well go home. And then I looked up and I'd done 800 something miles. I want to do an iron butt. I want to get an iron butt patch. So
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it sounds good, but I just like the fact that you can take your time. I think when you travel cross country or whatever, it's taking your time that makes it so much fun. You can like I remember I was coming back from Sacramento, and this is just how things are meant to be. It was like I stopped at a Love's truck stop to get some gas, whatever. I saw a dude who was at when I went to Laguna Seca to see World Superbike, and he goes, "Hey man, were you there?" I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "Hey, I tell you what. If you get a chance, when you're going through Wyoming, cut across on Highway, I think 50, to go into Colorado and cut across." And I said, okay, maybe. And I said, you know what the hell? Who wants to go through Wyoming twice? That is hell. Wyoming twice is fucking hell. So I said, okay. And I went there, and about 5 miles in, there was no road, literally no road at all. They're doing construction. It was nothing but sand for about 3 or 4 miles. And that was sketchy. And in my helmet, I was like, well, be careful what you wish for. But it was great because I was like, and I don't know about you, but it's something about, especially now traveling across country or traveling, it feels like kind of like an apocalyptic kind of element to it. I don't know about you. Did you feel that? Because you traveled during the epidemic, so didn't it feel like an apocalyptic kind of like Mad Max kind of thing?
It's when you get, especially the western states, right? When you're traveling,
God, yes,
through the western states, through Nevada, Utah, to an extent Colorado, there's nothing there.
Nothing.
So you try. I did highway. You mentioned Highway 50. Highway 50, where it crosses Nevada, it's called the loneliest road in America.
Yes.
And that was one of the things I always wanted to do. And it's a fascinating ride, but you go for an hour and not see another vehicle. It's a flat, straight 2-lane highway. You don't see anyone out there. But it was, so those experiences are cool just to say, yeah, I've seen that. I've done that. Yeah, riding across country to LA to New York is a lifetime highlight. I tell people it's one of the few experiences that exceeded my expectations. In life,
yes, most
things don't exceed your expectations.
Right.
And that did. That was amazing. So I want to do the southern route, right? The rally is in North Carolina, but now there's some work stuff coming up that should be happening, so I won't have as much free time. I won't be able to do it, but I'll get there one day.
Well, yeah, but you know what? You got to be careful with that one day, because that one day becomes never, and you almost have to seize it. And here's what I did. I knew my road work, was, being cut, which is fine with me, whatever. But I said, you know what? And that's the reason I got the bike I got, because I wanted to travel by bike to my gigs. And that made it, and that gave it a whole different level. It was, to me, it's so much better because I'm riding on the bike. I take my time getting there. And I get there and I park the bike and I either Uber to the club or come back, and then during the daytime, take a little ride on the bike or whatever. But man, you got to do that, Alonzo. You got to stop and smell the roses. I told you that when you were in France. You were in France and I was in Spain. And I said, man, come on across and watch GP with me. It was the season finale. And you go, yeah. And I go, what? When you take my advice, I'm like, what? Really? And so you said, okay. And you came across and I go, that's what you got to do, man. You got to stop and smell the roses. Because I know you have to take the work. I know that. But man, you got to step aside.
Well, listen, I agree with you, but the issue is scheduling.
Yeah.
And when the world was open, my schedule, two things. One, my schedule didn't allow enough time between gigs, because I had to be, if I got to be here on, if I'm in Raleigh on Sunday and then I got something in LA on Tuesday, I don't have time to get across country. One of the things about you being in the Midwest, you're closer to everything.
Yes. Yeah.
When you're in California, we're far from everything. It's like when the career starts, right? I had friends in New York. In New York, you can drive 5 hours and hit 3 or 4 different states. In California, you drive 5 hours, you're still in California.
That's true. I know. But
so and the other thing is having to carry merch, having to carry clothes. There's limits to what you can do on a bike versus flying. Now, what I have done a lot of places, I have friends with bikes, so I've ridden with them. I've rented bikes. I mean, when I was in Sydney, I went to this bike shop, and I was talking with. I had rented a BMW once. I rented a GS, and I rode outside of Sydney along their equivalent of Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah.
They have a highway along the coast people ride. So I rode that. And then I was in town and I was talking to this guy. I think he had like a Honda Kawasaki deal, whatever it was. And I was doing this show. It's called the Footy Show.
Okay.
And the Footy, yeah. It's meaning sports because, you know, they have soccer
Right.
and Australian rules football, stuff like that. And they had this show. And the Footy Show, they would have guests on. It was like if you could imagine Sports Center and the Tonight Show combining, okay? That was the Footy Show.
Nice. I would love that.
So I'm on there, and and the guy said, "Hey man, if you mention me on the Footy Show, you could have any bike you want." So sure as hell, I'm on there, and I mentioned his shop, and for the rest of my time in Sydney, all I had to do was go over there, and he was like, "Take what you want, you know, go for a ride."
My God.
I've been lucky enough to experience that. I had some people in Winnipeg take me for a ride through Western Canada. You know, once people, and you know this, once they find out you're into it, once they find out you're a gearhead, they help you out. They you know Robert Pandya, right? You know Pandya in Austin.
Yes.
You know, Pandya's got a garage full of bikes that whenever I'm there, he's like, "Hey man, you're welcome to it. Take one," you know, and we've done some, not as much as we want, but we've done some rides down there. So,
Well, you said it best, even as a joke. I think a private joke to me. I don't know if you did it on stage, but you said it best. And it sounds so corny, but it's the truth. Bikes bring people together who wouldn't normally probably be together. You know what I mean? You everywhere you do the wave or whatever, and it's like, would you normally say something to this person if they weren't on a bike? And it does bring people together. And you said it best. You said the thing that white supremacists and hardcore brothers have in common is they love Harleys. It's the truth. And it's like, you know, that little difference they have, their commonality is greater than that difference. And that's the funny thing about it. They have this hatred toward each other, but they ride the same bikes. And it's incredible.
well, it's comical because they would never ride together, but they both swear by the same motorcycle, you know? And, you know, like they say, when you're riding, you don't know if that guy riding next to you is a surgeon or a janitor. You don't know if the woman who rides up to the rock store, she might be an actress or she might be an accountant. You don't know, and nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares. That's the
you're
greatest.
just riding.
Yes.
Now, you find out, and you know, one of the greatest ad campaigns of all time, you meet the nicest people on a Honda.
Yes.
It changed motorcycling. It changed motorcycling because up until then, motorcycling was seen as the wild one, and Harley bikers and all of that. And Honda came along with that little step-through bike and said you meet the nicest people on a Honda, and they showed like clean cut, you know, that middle America look. It changed the whole view. And it made Honda the biggest motorcycle company in the world. I always joke that there's people at Yamaha sitting there like, nicest people. Damn. Nicest people. Nobody thought of that, you know. Honestly, it did. It changed the entire view of motorcycles. And, you know, and it was great. It was great.
Man, you said something. I read this, and I'm going to let you repeat it. But you talked about how back in the day, and I think you got your first bike in the 70s, I think, or 80s, and that was when you said if you were able to get your bike home and make it home safely, you were a motorcyclist.
Yeah, well, back then, I got my first bike in 1980, and there was no, what's it called? What's the riding school called?
A bait. Here it's a bait. In Indiana, it's a bait.
No, it's not a bait. But anyway, there was no rider training.
Yeah.
And what you did, you bought a bike, and they were like, this is the clutch, this is the brake, this is the throttle,
Good luck.
This is the shifter. Good luck. And yeah, if you made it home, you're now a motorcycle rider, you know. MSF, that's what I was talking about, MSF,
yeah.
Motorcycle Safety Foundation. There was no MSF back in 1980. You learned, and that's why you have bad habits, right? That's why when you go to, like you were talking about the rider school, you go to Nick Einach's rider school, and Nick's a brilliant rider. I know him, great guy. But he talks about all the bad habits we have because when we learned, there was nobody to teach you, so you developed the bad habit because nobody showed you the right way. That's why now when people ask me about riding, I send them to MSF. It's like, yeah, I can show you how to do it, but I'd rather you go to this class. It costs like, I don't know, $175, $200.
But it's worth it.
They give you a bike. You just show up with a jacket, gloves, and boots. They give you a bike. They give you a helmet. They show you the theory. You do it without the bike running, just sitting on the bike. Then you do it in a parking lot, and you learn the safe way to brake and to turn. And it's a little bike, so it's not intimidating. And then you decide, okay, now I can do this, you know. So, yeah, we've come light years. They've saved thousands of lives, honestly.
Yeah,
They've saved thousands of lives.
To this day, and I'm not the brightest. Trust me, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. You know this, but one thing I did know when I moved here, and I knew I wanted to get back into riding again. I said, you know what, I'm going to learn the right way, and I took that course. And to this day, when I get into trouble, muscle memory, man. I remember going into a turn way too fast and my brakes weren't working, and I just knew how to just, follow the turn, turn my head and follow. And to this day, I follow that. And I think dealerships do a disservice to ride. I know you're after the money, I know that, but man, honestly, sometimes I'm like, man, what are you doing? You're gonna kill this person. You know what I mean? Like from 18 or 16, whatever, you can get a bike, 16 to 21, 24, or whatever. You shouldn't sell a first-time person a Busa or a ZX10. I think it should be a law against that personally. I think, because, they don't know what they're doing. They're going by peer pressure. And you know how it is. Man, you're going to be a pussy, man. Get this bike. And next thing you know, it's so hard to say goodbye. And that's what happened. I saw that personally. I saw a dude get his bike. He was so happy. I go, you're not going to get a jacket? And he goes back in and he buys a jacket. And I go, you're not going to get gloves? And he goes back in and buys the gloves. And the guy selling the bike looked at me and I'm like, am I going to get a commission on this? Because I'm helping you out. But that's what it is. Like they're so eager to sell the bike. They don't think about the safety habit. Or I believe it. Go ahead.
That's not true of all of them. I know bike dealers who have tried to talk people out of bikes. I remember when the R1 first came out, what was that, like 96, 97?
Yes, yeah.
And this guy, he managed a Honda Yamaha dealer that I used to go to. He said, yeah, we're going to be able, he said, you're going to be able to get the back half of these at a lot of salvage yards. Because what happens is people don't learn to use the front brake.
Yeah.
And that's what stops a sport bike. Sport bikes are insanely fast. To the point, to me, they're not fun. Right. Well, first of all, I'm getting old, so
you ain't old.
What's the saying? The older I am, the faster I used to be.
You ain't old.
It doesn't. Well, no. What I mean is that I don't have the desire to do 120, 150 miles an hour anymore. I did that, and it was absolutely fun, but I don't have the desire to do it anymore. But they don't. You're right. They don't learn. They don't see with me, and the dealer was very cool. I hadn't been riding for a while. So I bought a 600. I bought a CBR 600, and with the intent of getting the 900. I said, I'm going to ride the 600 for a few months, get my chops back, and then get the 900. And the dude was like, cool. And he gave me a great trade-in because he knew I was coming back, Yeah. And so I rode the bike for, 3-4 months, put a couple of thousand miles on it, and then I traded it in and got like 90% of the value, which never happens. But I bought so many bikes from them. They knew. They were like, yeah, we get this guy. We got him for life. In foreign countries, as you know, in Europe, in Japan, they do that. You can't start on the biggest bike. Man, can we take a quick break? I got to let the plumber in the house.
Yeah, go do that. Go do it. Go let the plumber in.
You have no problem talking, and then I'm going to finish this point.
Okay. Go ahead. Go let the plumber in. If you got a problem with the toilet, man, you got to do it. You got to do it.
That's a sink in the kitchen, but it is what it is.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I told him not to come this early.
I love it. Fucking loves though. So he's going to get his. We're almost done. Did you get a picture? Get a picture. Okay. Okay. Got you, man. Yeah. Can we go a little longer? Yeah. Okay. Good thing. Shit. Okay. Thanks, man. Thanks. You know, fuck. It's so funny, man. I got to do a part 2 or something. You know what I mean? Fucking love these, man. I love Zoe. God damn it. I got all this information. Hadn't gone through any of it, and oh my gosh, that's so funny. His plumber came in. I feel bad about waking him up, and he's, the plumber's coming in to fix the sink. I'm the plumber. I came to fix the sink anyway. So I hope you guys are enjoying this, man. I wish we were doing it live so I can get people to say like, hey, what do you want me to ask him or whatever. You guys got any questions you want me to ask him? Malik? You got anything? How about you, White? Do you want to know Pearl Jam or anything? Sounds like you had something. How about you, Malik?
Just
what, Malik?
I have no clue. Just questions about comedy.
Okay, like what? Like what?
Like I noticed that he said something about Bill Burr. I'm a fan of Bill Burr, so I'd like to. Yeah. Just his relationship with Bill Burr, and I noticed that Bill Burr said he knew you. So
yeah, I knew Bill Burr back in the day when he did. So honestly, here's what I remember. We worked together in. I remember being at the Laugh Factory, watching him go up. I go, this guy's funny. So then we worked together in Portland. And I was feeling myself. I thought I was, I ain't gonna lie, I thought I was really funny. And Bill Burr went up and I go, okay, this is what funny is. And I remember that. And I remember us, and the last real memory I remember us is that we were in Improv, me and him were at the same table, and Damon Wayans going up, and he was watching him intently. And then, and I said, hey, I'm leaving to go. So he goes, I think I'm gonna stay. I said, okay. And that's what I remember. And it sounds like nothing, but the rest is history. And he just studied and studied, and he got better and better. And now look where he's at. And matter of fact, I direct messaged Bill Burr like last week because I told him about a movie to watch, and he likes French movies, and so I told him to watch this French movie. And
what was the movie?
The movie was it was called It was a submarine movie. Hold on, it was a submarine movie on Netflix. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you right now. Hold on. French submarine movie on Netflix. The Wolf's Call. It's called The Wolf's Call. It was fucking great. If you get a chance, watch it. It's called The Wolf's Call. So you want me to ask him his relationship to Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that, man. I'll do that for you. Okay.
Thanks.
No, that's what I do, man. I mean, I want you guys to know, man. It's all love, bro. It's all love.
Did Bill Burr ever hit you back?
Yeah. He goes, thanks, BT. And I hit Bill Burr up the night of the Grammys when
like you casually glaze over that.
Oh yeah, well the night of the Grammys because he wasn't nominated. I go, man, you should have been nominated. And he goes, you know what? And instead of talking out of my ass, I'm gonna tell you exactly what he said. So you know I'm not bullshitting.
Wow.
Here's what he said because I said you should have got nominated, and his response to me was, appreciate that tweet. Man. However, the upside of not being nominated is you don't have to go and sit through an award show. Hope all is good with you. And that's what he said.
Wow.
And so, and so I tweeted him last week. I said, hey, there's a great French movie on Netflix called The Wolf's Call. Think you would dig it. Stay safe, B. And he goes, thanks, BT. So, yeah. I mean, I know he's busy, so I don't, and I'm...
I think you should ask him to be on Tales. I think your fans would really enjoy a Bill Burr
I like that. I don't want to sound like I'm, I have a hard time bothering people, you know what I mean? But it is what I'm doing. So if you got downtime, yeah, I'd like to. So what? Oh, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Hey, Zoe, real quick. My the other dude, the sound guy, he goes, the sound guy, he's not into bikes, but he goes, oh my God, he talked about Bill Burr. He's a real Bill Burr fan, and he wants to know what's the question, Malik?
Just like, what's your relationship? Damn, I just said it hard. I said, what's your relationship like with Bill Burr?
We're friends. We're comics. We're not best of friends. We don't have breakfast together, but I've known Burr for years. We bump into him around Hollywood, around the clubs and stuff like that. And then we started talking. I think it was F1. Yeah, we started talking F1 first because he was an F1 fan. And I'm an F1 fan, and then we started talking GP. So sometimes we'll text during a race, and he knows you, BT. He remembers you because I was telling him that BT is our psychopath GP fan. And just so anyone listening to this, you probably already know this, but we know the guys at IRTA who work MotoGP. They handle the rules and safety and this and that. They don't know as much about it as BT does. They were like, BT, stop asking us questions about the girlfriend of a 15-year-old Moto3 racer and what, yeah. So
that was Malik. I mean, I like I said, I love these guys, man. Like they're 19 and 21, and
Burr's a very cool guy. The one thing that's really cool, he's a helicopter pilot.
Yeah, I know he did that as a bit, but he really does that.
Yeah, he's a licensed helicopter pilot. It's something he learned to do, which is very cool. But he's a good guy. But getting back to my point that I was on before I left about the super bikes, in other countries you do have to start small. By law, you can't just walk in and buy an R1 or a Gixxer 1000 as your first bike. But this is the United States, America, right?
About freedom, man.
A friend of mine says, freedom is free to be dumb. That's it. So, and it's exactly what you said. People read, this is the fastest bike. Like it's the most dangerous thing every year. This is the fastest bike. And people buy it. And even if they drive a car, even if you drive a fast car or a quick car, it's nothing like a motorcycle. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, trust me, I know.
The quickest car, like whether people talk about a Tesla, turbo Porsche, which I've driven. I had a turbo Porsche. It's the one car I truly regret getting rid of. I had an 88 turbo Porsche, and I used to tell people, this thing is Hayabusa fast. It was so, they were much lighter back then.
Yeah.
But even that is nothing like a bike. I mean, when you're on a Busa, I used to say, I've had 2 Busas, love the bike. I said, you're not accelerating as much as you're sucking the world in toward you. It is, there's no sensation like full throttle on a Hayabusa. There's nothing, I've never done anything like that. Of course, Ricky Gadsden, to him, that's like walking. He's like, well, when you're going to go quick? That's another guy He's an alien. He's an alien. He's a different. I don't know if you know Ricky.
Oh yeah, I've gotten on Ricky's nerves to the point he had to turn away and walk away from me, and I understood it. Like I met him at a Black Bike Week in Myrtle Beach, and we're talking, and he was really cool. And typical me, I got on his nerves, and he literally turned away and just walked away. I go, God damn it.
Yeah, your energy is too much, and it's funny when they talk. When you hear the saying, and you'll hear this from racers. You have to move slow to go fast.
Yes.
That's Ricky. If you're around Ricky, his energy is very low key, measured, obviously super intelligent and understands what he does. But because he moves slow and deliberate, he's the quickest rider that's ever lived.
Yeah. I love what Ricky does. I really do. Like I said, I feel so bad. Like I can't, like I said, I can't control it. I mean, I really can't. I try, man. But it's like you said, it's the passion thing. I mean, if I don't have that, on the flip side, if I don't have that, then it's like, why am I? It's like if you took me to a basketball game, I'd be happy to go. If you took me to a Clipper game, I know you're a Clipper fan, and I'd be there, I'd be like, okay, I'm cool. And if LeBron, hey, what's up, LeBron? But I wouldn't be like, oh, LeBron, because I'm not really that into it. You know what I mean? I'm like, eh. And I wish I was that way with GP or motorcycles, but I'm not, because that's what I'm into. And when I'm into something, I smother that shit. Well, you're a Gemini. You know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Well, you're also like that with boy bands.
No.
You need to dial it back. You need to dial down from a 10 to an 8 because it's too much for people.
Dude, I know, but I can't. I wish I could. You don't understand, though, is that I wish I could. I try, but I can't. The only time, I can't do it. And that's why I said I'm so glad you took me to the side that one time and go, hey, you gotta, people like you, but you gotta settle down. And I'm a grown man. I'm in my 40s, and you have to tell that to me? That was the funny part about it. I'm a 40-year-old man going, and you had to tell me and go, hey, listen, people like you, but you gotta settle down. Okay. And that's why I do that, man. All because of you. And I listen to you more than you think I do. And I like I said, and that's why I'm always amazed when you listen to me like, really? You You took my advice, you know? I honestly, that's why, and I got to get to the part about the questions here because we're running out of time. I got to get to the boring ass questions, but what's been your best ride ever? The one that you, like, it just stands out your mind like, yeah.
Well, like I say, the cross-country trip was that was probably the best one. Mm-hmm. You know, here's the thing about riding, and this is where I'm so spoiled living in Southern California. I mean, I literally live now, 10 minutes from Mulholland that I can ride to the Rock Store or whatever. We're so I'm so spoiled. Like, I went to the Dragon, right? Mm-hmm. And you hear all this talk, and it was a fun road, but I was like, this is Latigo. Like this, you know what I mean? It wasn't as earth-shattering to me because I have some of the greatest roads in the world and some of the greatest weather, 15 minutes from where I live. I always say that the great thing about living in LA is you can ride for 30 minutes and not know LA exists. You can just go in a canyon, up a hill. You used to live here, you go up the crest and then you have all these side roads off the crest. You go up Mulholland and then you got Stunt and Piuma and Latigo and blah, 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 blah. It's endless. You go up, you have the Ortega Highway down, going through from Orange County inland. You have all these roads. So it's where the best ride I have is in my backyard, man. My favorite road, there's a stretch of Mulholland that's my favorite road in the world.
Why is it your favorite? Like, what part about it? What's making it your favorite?
It's the combination of the turns, the view, the speeds on it, and it's a feel of riding through it. It's my own personal roller coaster.
Oh, it's great. Okay, now
and it's not super technical. I don't like super technical. There's a challenge to it.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? The plumber is here, so they're kind of. Can you guys work around it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be done here in a minute.
Okay.
Thanks. So anyway, super technical roads, this is my thing with a road. I like to be able to double the recommended speed. To me, that's the fun, right?
Yes.
But when you get on a 10-mile-an-hour hairpins, and I know people who love those aren't fun to me. But the 30-mile-an-hour sweepers, or even the higher speed, and again, not doing 150, but those roads are fun. I like to be able to see through a corner. I will not speed through a corner that I can't see the exit, because when you're on the street, you honestly don't know what's through there. Just yesterday, it rained here. When did it rain? Sunday night and Monday. And, I have this Indian bagger, which is really cool. It's called a Challenger.
I know. Trust me, I know.
They loaned it to me
for
a while.
Yes.
I hit this stretch of mud, and I just slid. I had no control over the bike for 20 feet. I was like, don't let me crash there, Indian. I don't want to, But it was just one of those things. But that's, it was mud in the road,
Right.
And you learn that. You learn that over time and experience. You learn, there's stuff that happens on the street. And this is why people do track days if you really want to go fast. Because on the street, you never know what's around that corner. And I just won't go through a corner that I can't see the exit of at a super high speed because you don't know. And, you be on the crest and you see these idiots doing a 3-point turn with an RV on a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
And literally blocking the road with their RV. And people have been killed.
Oh, trust me, I know. Yeah. Okay. So what's your worst ride? I mean, and I say worst, it's on motorcycles, it's not bad, but when you just go, okay, maybe not that again.
No, I will tell you, I absolutely remember this. So when I rode to Americade is up in
New Hampshire, right?
Western New York.
Yeah.
Lake George.
Okay.
My brother lives in Connecticut, right? So I'm in Pennsylvania, and I said, let me ride home. I'm going to go to Queens and see my mom, and then I'm going to go up to Connecticut and see my brother. So where the Pennsylvania Turnpike hits the New Jersey Turnpike, it started raining.
Oh.
I mean, just sheets of rain. So now I'm on a turn. Now I have to ride through the toll booth, over the George Washington Bridge, in the pouring rain on metal grating. It was the absolute worst. I hate that whole area. I said, I will never do this again. I've done it a couple of times because I went from Americade. I rode down to the Blue Ridge Mountain Parkway.
Yeah.
Through Virginia and North Carolina. And one more time I had to ride through that area. And it is just the worst. And I have a friend, he's in North Carolina. And he said, yeah, when I go north, he literally detours through Pennsylvania to avoid riding through that interchange area of and doing the George Washington Bridge to get up to upstate New York. It is such a, like, New Yorkers do it all the time, but it is such a miserable ride. There's no fun. That's an area where riding a motorcycle is just no fun.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what's your now? I mean, I've seen other interviews, and your thing changes over time. But what's your dream bike now? I mean, which is going to be a good answer, because you cycle through bikes like Jennifer Aniston does Boyfriends. Man, you're just always something new, something different. So what's your dream bike now?
I'm always trading, and although I have the garage now right where I want it.
What do you got in the garage?
Right now, I have the K1600 Grand America, which is a touring bike.
Oh, yes.
The GS. And my Rocket 3. And I'm perfect. There's nothing else I want. My dream bike, I wouldn't even ride it. I might only ride it once, is a Desmo Sedici.
Oh, what year? What year, though? What year?
They only made it for 1 year. They made it in 08. That was it.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, that was like 80 grand, that bike. I remember.
Yeah,
I remember
the V4 GP bike. It was basically it was based on Casey Stoner's GP bike, but they made it for the street. And they range in price now from the low, around 50 to 60 on up. But that's a bike that I always wanted. And people say it wasn't meant for riding on the street. It's hot. Yeah. It's loud. They said, and some people bought them and used them as track bikes if you got that kind of money.
Yeah.
The really rich people bought 2 of them, and they had one they'd ride on the track, and the other one they kept as a collector. But that's the one bike I always wish I had.
Man, I remember being at GP, and this guy had one, and everybody was like, kind of like, oh, there it is, there, and he couldn't get it started, and you could see the look in his face, like, come on, you son of a bitch. I mean, $80,000 bike, and he couldn't get it started. And I couldn't watch it. I can't watch a train wreck. I really can't. And I just had to keep walking, like, that poor guy. Like, he just, and it never turned over. And I think eventually it did, but just watching the beads of sweat start trickling down his face because he couldn't get it open.
He never feels sorry for someone who can afford an $80,000 motorcycle. All right.
Hey, okay, so real quick, why do you always change your bike? Why did your garage always change? Is that the Gemini in you?
Because, hold on a second.
Okay. Why am I done, Wyatt? Oh, shit, yeah, I got you. Sorry, Wyatt.
Because I don't have the money or space to collect them.
Okay.
And I like riding different things. So
it's a good problem to have.
I'll ride something for a while, and then I'm like, I want to try something else. So I have to get rid of one to get the other. And sometimes you don't know. Like, for example, the Motus, M-O-T-U-S. Remember that bike?
I rode with those guys. I went down to Birmingham, and they saw me on my Instagram, and I hit them up, and they go, let's go ride. And we went riding through Alabama together.
Right. It was a great bike.
Yes.
I rode with them a few times, blah, blah, blah. Finally, I bought one. I traded my BMW K1600 GT. I got the Motus. After owning the Motus for a couple of months, I realized it was a great engine, but not a great bike.
Okay.
The BMW was a much better bike. So a year later, year and a half, whatever, I was kind of, I'd ridden a bunch of Indians and this and that. So I traded it, and I got the Indian Bagger. I got the Chieftain Elite, which was a fantastic bike. And that was a whole different vibe for me. I'd never done the bagger thing where you're literally just cruising and it's all about style. And I used to say that bike was perfect for Saturday nights on Sunset Boulevard and Sunday on PCH, where it was just style.
Yeah.
And it had this kick-ass stereo on. It's the only bike I had that had a super loud, like where you're annoying people with the light because your stereo is so loud.
Yeah.
But when you're riding, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so I did that, and I did the bagger thing for a couple of years, and then I was like, I want to do something else. So I got rid of that. So those bikes come and go. The forever bike is the BMW GS. That, to me, that's the greatest. But if I'm ever have one motorcycle and nothing else, it would be a GS. It does everything. It's the most amazing motorcycle I've ever ridden. And I've had a couple of multi-stratas. I know you have the multi.
Oh, I love my multi.
And the multi is fantastic, and I prefer the GS. And it's not one better than the other. It's just a matter of preference. Different people like them for different reasons. I like the GS more, but the multi is fantastic too.
And I remember, the greatest thing about you, man, is that for some reason, you're a busy person, so you rented that GS in Chicago, wrote it down, but you had to get back to LA, and you said, hey, do me a favor, man, could you ride this back to Chicago for me? I go, yes. And I just remember I was so happy. I just remember it rained, and you said, hey, man, sorry it rained. And I was like, I was hoping it would snow, because I just have this adventure spirit, and that was the greatest thing you did. And then you let me ride it back to Chicago, and I was so damn happy, man.
Well, one thing, and this is funny, but BMWs, they don't care about the rain.
Yes.
They don't. It's a bike you ride in the rain, and you're like, okay. Like, they just work.
Yeah.
They work. I tell it, but BMW bikes, you could tell that it's the same car company, right? Like my Grand America, I tell people, this is a two-wheel 7 Series. And when I had the GT, I was like, this is a two-wheel M5. You know, it's a company DNA that you get that really works.
Okay. Off topic, whatever, real quick. Best comic right now. In your mind, in your eyes, best comic right now.
It's not even close. It's not even close. Dave is working on a level that we can't even comprehend.
And why is that, though? Why is that? For coming from a comic mind like yours, why is that?
Because of the way his mind works. Because he sees things that we don't see, and then he says it, and you're like, that is it exactly. And I love doing topical comedy, political, social commentary, stuff like that. And I always said that George Carlin was the greatest social commentator we've ever had.
Right.
Dave has replaced him. Dave has taken. If you look at what Dave's done in the past few years, like for instance, Sticks and Stones, right, where they said the critics were like, this is blah blah, and it was rated 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then he won a Grammy for it,
Yeah.
And he didn't care. He didn't care what the critics said. Dave has this ability, confidence, to not be funny and then be hilarious. And when he did the Emmett Till thing on the special he shot in Austin a few years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
But imagine doing a set and talking about Emmett Till, one of the worst murders ever in our racial history
that we know of.
That was, this was a 14-year-old kid killed for looking at a white woman, which he didn't even do. The woman 50 years later said that it was all, he didn't whistle at her or whatever. But Dave taught the people that little history lesson in a comedy set, and then used it to be funny later, did a callback to it and made it funny. And most recently, on 846, what I thought was a profound statement when he said that, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he said how Don Lemon was like, where are the celebrity voices on this? Why aren't celebrities speaking out on Black Lives Matter and this? And Dave was like, shut the fuck up, man. The streets are talking. They don't want to hear us. The streets are talking. That summed it up. The streets were talking, but to see that and to say it from a comedy stage is incredible. So yeah, Dave it's how his mind is operating. And I'm not the only one who thinks that, you know.
Yeah.
I saw in an interview, I think it was a Kevin Hart interview, and he said him and Chris Rock, they were in New York.
Yes, I heard this story. Yes.
Yeah, Chris called him and said, let's go down to the cellar. I want to work on some material. And Kevin was like, yeah, I want to work it out, this or that. And they got to the cellar, and Chappelle was on stage, and they both said, nah, we won't go up tonight. You know?
Man, that's great. And hearing it from you, because I look up to you, and for you to say that about him, I mean, I feel the same way about Dave, but I love it when people I look up to say that about him. You know what I mean? And I see it like you do, but it's just, I love the game. And like I said, and that's why I call it Tales of a Gemini. Tales from a Gemini, is it, you're a Gemini, I'm a Gemini, and like I said, we stack up, but you're a better comic than me. So hearing you say that, it's like, wow, you know?
Well, you know, it's, I don't, thank you for that. It's just, we operate on different levels. We do different things. It's not just being a better comic. Sometimes it's just fame, you know. I have parallel thoughts. The thing I'm proud of is that I've been on stage with the best there is.
Yeah.
I've been on stage with the richest there is. And I'm fine. I hold my own. I never was strong in marketing. That's why I didn't get rich, because I didn't know how to sell myself.
Right.
I was more interested in doing the comedy. I tell young comics now, do marketing, sell yourself. That's part of the job. You know, I never learned that. So, but I'm proud that I can hang with the great ones. You know, my mentors have become my friends. George Wallace, Lewis Black, the Dom Herrera, these guys, you know. And when I'm in a place and I'm on, you know, just, Dave, I know Dave and Dave knows me. And we're cool when we see each other, you know, again, not like we hang out.
Right.
I had a great time with Trevor Noah. Great time with Trevor, cracking up, you know. And, you know, and you know this, when you're in the green room, it has nothing to do with how much money you have or how many TV shows you've been on or how many movies. You're funny or you're not. If you're funny, we respect you. If you're not, we don't.
Yeah. I just remember you telling me the story, how it was one of them LA gigs or whatever, and everybody who went on before you was a multi-millionaire, but you closed the show out.
Yeah.
Because they knew. And I just thought, that was beautiful. I mean, that encapsulated everything up that you just said. Honestly, it's just, you got the respect, and you know, and even they know. So, and I thought that was beautiful. Man, we got to run, bro. I'm running late. I know you got a plumber at your house and everybody else.
A plumber working.
Yeah, and I got another podcast coming up behind me. These guys, I did them wrong last week. I got to run. But, man, thank you, Zoe. I'd love to run this back. I don't know when you got some more time. I'd love to run it back again so we can get more to it. I didn't get half the things I want to talk to you about, man. But I appreciate your time, Zoe. You know I respect you so much, my man. Like I said, you're the older brother I always wish I had, man. So I'll see you when I see you, brother.
I'm everyone's older brother. Alan says the same thing. I got to find an older brother, so I'm not the oldest guy in the room. Take care, BT.
Thank you, brother.
Slow down, and I'll take a ride for you since your weather's 20 degrees or whatever the hell.
I'll still,
you know, back there.
Yeah, it's free, but I still ride. You know me, man. You see the picture. I don't just post up. I'd ride, bro. So yeah, I'm gonna put my winter gear on and heat it up, and I'll ride.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Talk to you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for Tales from the Gemini. My guest, Alonzo Bodden, who I love so much. Like you guys, like I always say every time, thanks for watching. And until next time, bye.